Hello, beloveds. I love that word. This is Eddie. As I strive to decipher the vocabulary I've been taught and improve my own vocabulary, I'm working on not saying the word black because I do think it is a curse on African and African descended peoples. I think a lot of the words that we use every day are curses, and I will get into that in another video. But in this video, I wanted to spend a few minutes talking about feminism and why I have not, am not, and will never be anyone's feminist. And normally I have notes when I do my videos, but today I'm just going to talk off the cuff and see what happens. Well, I was listening to Tommy Sotomayor, and he was talking about how feminists abandoned the so-called black people. You know, us, African and African descended people. Have they abandoned us? And I could very easily say no to that question, because in order to abandon someone, you actually would have had to taken them in, you know, accepted them in some way, and the so-called white feminists never accepted us. What they did was they used us. Unfortunately, it's the truth. In the 60s and 70s, when the African descended people in America were coming together and getting our stuff together, the so-called white, the quote-unquote Europeans, realized this. They understood the power, they understood our power, and it really frightened them. It frightens them to this day. This is why we have so many problems, so many troubles all over the world. So in order to divide us and keep us conquered, the European woman came in and helped to distract the African descended female from her mate, even more than slavery. And unfortunately, because we were quite naive back then, we bought it, you know. And there's so many women running around saying they're feminists, so many African descended women who run around saying they're feminists, and in their minds they may believe they are. And I don't have any problem with the idea of feminism, and if that's what you want, then, you know, fine. And I looked up the definition for feminism, and it says advocating social, political, legal, and economic rights for women equal to those of men. You can advocate for equal rights without really bringing your gender into it. And I mean, I believe that to be true. You can just say an equal rights society for all and leave it at that. The problem that I'm having with feminism and equality is men and women are not equal. Men and women are never going to be equal. And it's something that we need to face up to. There are things that men can do that women cannot do. There are things that women can do that men cannot do. Men can't have babies, you know. Women don't have that whole body strength unless they super work out and do all kinds of abnormal things to their bodies. They're not built really to build things and to protect things. Women are not built that way. Yes, we're built to protect our young, but as far as protecting a family or protecting a society, that's really what the man is built for. And I think the most important difference that I can see in men and women is women take care of things. They sustain things. Men build things. So the man's job is to create a society. The woman sustains it. The man's job is to create or bring about the circumstances to create a family, and the woman sustains it. You know, the man builds the world, and the woman sustains it. Because without the man, nothing would ever come into existence, because he's the one who sparks everything. He initiates. And without the woman, nothing would ever survive, because she's the one who has to nurture it and take care of it. There are very distinct differences in the personality of a male and personality of a female, the physical characteristics of a male and the physical characteristics of a female. Equally, we can share in what is right for all of us in a society. We can share equally in whatever. But we have to understand that we have different roles when it comes to our societies. Because we have become, because so the African descended peoples of the world, especially in America, have been, for the most part, a created people. I think we've forgotten that we actually created civilization and sustained civilization, the very first civilizations. So it's easy to get caught up in all of the tricks and traps that the European sets for us. Unfortunately, it's very easy because we've been divided and conquered and divided and conquered and ruled and divided, and we've been spread out all over the world, which is at this point in the world, in time, if whatever time is not bad, because that gives us strategic advantage. We just don't recognize that strategic advantage that we have, and we're not using it. But we were the first people, and we built this, and now we're being destroyed, and a lot of our destruction comes at the hands of mental trickery like feminism. So I'm going to end this video and just say, before you take on somebody else's, I don't even know what to call it, definition, someone else's fight or struggle, because feminism really is a European woman's struggle. It is not the African descended woman's struggle. African descended women in America were not struggling against their men. They were struggling against the oppression, and they were easily swayed into believing that all of a sudden they were struggling against their men. No, we have been pushed further and further apart as mates, and we need to start coming together as the male and female, as the original male and female, and really working our, excuse my language, our shit out, and putting our society, putting our people back together, and then putting our society back together. Because I do believe in the end, it's just going to be about us. There will be a reascension to the, I don't want to call it the throne, because I know how that sounds, but there will be a reascension of the so-called black people in the world. We will rise back up. Unfortunately, we're probably gonna have to weed out some people along the way, or maybe I should say fortunately, but the switch will happen. It's the middle passage, if you will, that's going to be a little rocky, from getting from where we currently are to where we rightfully should be. And I think if we let go of such things as feminism, we'll be just that much closer to getting back to our proper place in the world. And that's all I have to say. So thank you for listening. Peace and love, African and African descended peoples. I'm out.